Good Saturday morning to everybody. Welcome to HyperFit MD radio show, where age management is always front and center, along with Dr. Charles and Francesca Guglin. I'm Gary Byron. Good morning there, my friends.
Good morning.
How are you?
We're good. We're good.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Okay. I didn't know if your mic was on or you just weren't close enough.
I'm not projecting.
It's that's a rarity. You always project.
Yeah.
I haven't talked. I've seen you guys in a while. How have you been? What's new?
We're good. We the practice. We came back from Christmas, and our office schedule was absolutely packed.
Great.
In
Look at
early
that.
January.
Good.
But Omicron got us big time. Not us, but one after another. Patients canceled because they'd either been exposed or they got the Omicron variant. And so early January in our practice, it was like a ghost town there because just so many people were getting this virus.
But it's a short-lived, right? It's not as potent, right?
Yeah. It's a 3-day thing for the most part for people, especially people who are vaccinated. It's like nothing. But
and once you get that, right, you have the antibodies. You're
for that particular variant.
For that variant,
yeah. So things were quiet, but now they're picking up big time. Yeah,
good.
So we're good.
What's the next variant, by the way? What's the new Pi? Is that PI? Is that
I don't
the
know.
next one? Or?
Probably something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Boy, it makes me nervous.
I don't pay attention until it becomes something I need to pay attention to.
We all may have to start paying more attention to. Although, I kind of think, and I don't know, maybe you'll agree with this, maybe you won't. I kind of think that people are getting back to their lives prior to the coronavirus and trying to get back into the thick of things, whether it's travel or whether it's business or whether it's just going out with family on outings and adventures.
We're just folding this challenge into the day to day. You know what I mean? I mean, it had to happen eventually. You can't be inside avoiding other human beings for life. We're just figuring out how to fold this into our life. The same way, look, after 9/11, right? Everything changed. Everything changed. The act of flying, the act of driving, the act of crossing a border, so on and so forth. Everything about our lives changed after 9/11. Now it's just routine, and this is it's going to kind of be the same thing, I think.
Before I get into what the subject of this morning's show is, I recognize the gentleman sitting to my right and your left. I know that we have a special guest, but you've been here before. You want to do the honors of introducing your guest?
Yeah, Neil Carcusa, who is what's your title?
Senior Nutritional Consultant.
Yeah, Senior Nutritional Consultant for Metagenics, Metagenics is the supplement company that we use almost exclusively in our practice. Francesca and I, when we first started the practice, did a lot of research. We kind of looked around because, as we all know, there's 100,000 supplement companies out there.
Sure.
Most of them, sell unworthy supplements, let's say. And so we did a lot of research, and we came up with 2 or 3 companies that we use, but pretty much Metagenics we use almost exclusively now. Their product line is amazing. It's a full spectrum product line. There's nothing that we need in our practice that they don't cover. And we have Neil. I probably talk to Neil 2 or 3 times a week because I got a patient with a specific issue that may need a supplement that needs supplements for that particular issue. And Neil's been unbelievable.
When you say supplement, what define a supplement? When I think of supplements, I think of vitamins.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean that is a form of a supplement, right? Supplements are, I consider, really bioactives, right, that have an impact on changing the health of our body, right? So vitamins are part of that. Minerals are part of that. Omega-3 fatty acids, fish oils, right? We see the benefits in those. These are all kind of under the umbrella of supplements. And so when getting a nice therapeutic dose of supplements, depending on whatever it may be, it could be vitamin C or vitamin D, it really can play a huge impact on changing the health outcomes of people.
When you talk to people about their vitamins, let's say some people don't take vitamins.
Right.
Some people say, "Well, I take a probiotic." Is that that's good, right?
Yep.
Or a
multivitamin.
A multivitamin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good as well. Those are two different types of vitamins. All right.
Yeah, I consider both those under the umbrella of what I consider foundational nutrition, right? So omega-3 fatty acids, probiotics, multivitamins, they're all kind of like the foundation. Everyone can benefit from those. Vitamin D as well. Everyone can benefit.
Because I know somebody that's all they take. They just take the multivitamin and then the probiotic, and that's it.
Right. You need to source
great.
it.
I like the individual. I take vitamin C, I take vitamin A, and then vitamin D separately.
Right. Yeah.
And it's in its own pill. And fish oil, which I used to take on a daily basis, although it started to not make my stomach feel good.
You need to use Metagenics fish oil. It's pre-digested so that you don't get that agita.
So you know what I'm talking about. Then.
Oh, yeah, I
You've
know
heard
exactly
this,
what
you've
you're
heard this
talking
before.
You're
then.
burping up something that tastes like fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some of that is done on poor quality as well. So if you get a higher quality fish oil, and then some people do have a difficult time emulsifying or breaking down fats. And so what we do in those cases, we'll make an enteric-coated form. So once it's enteric-coated, some of it will break down outside of your stomach more into your intestines. So it kind of, if you have a difficult time emulsifying fats, you probably have a GI issue we have to discover as well and work on, but you can take an enteric-coated version as well. And so quality helps and different versions help with that.
Yeah. You know, I like what I tell patients all the time because they say, why am I taking all this stuff? I say, the reason, to my mind, the reason they're called supplements is because in the 19th century, we didn't need supplements because our food was grown in dirt. Okay, our food was grown in beautiful dirt with fungus and bacteria and all the organisms that put nutrients in the plants that we eat. And we ate mostly plants with limited amounts of protein, but the animal protein we ate fed on the same plants that we were feeding on. Those foods were full of nutrients. Most of the produce we eat nowadays is grown in sterile soil with nitrogen fertilizers and are almost, that beautiful lettuce that you buy at the store, to my mind, is mostly cellulose and water. You really need these supplements because they don't exist in the food that we eat anymore to a very large degree. And our diet is the American diet especially, is so infused with processed food. So many people eat almost exclusively processed foods because if you have a big family and a small income, those foods are much cheaper. So the supplements are important because of the way we source our food these days.
I don't know why. Maybe you answered it. People would tell me, "Oh, you don't take vitamins. That's all fake. That's not real. That's not nature. That's not It should be the sun that you're getting your vitamin from. Milk, vitamin D from milk, and get it from the sun. And you should be eating citrus for your vitamin C and your steaks for. But like you said, vitamins.
Your steak is fed with corn. Your steak mostly eats corn and antibiotics, unless it's grass-fed steak and that kind of thing. So
we should be taking vitamins.
Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely,
absolutely, yeah. And I think Dr. Charles hit upon it right there. I mean, really, just the foods don't carry the same nutritional value that they once did. And also the way people eat, the standard American diet, acronym being SAD, S-A-D, standard American diet, just also the way people eat. It's more processed foods and that don't carry really any nutrients. And actually what they do carry is a lot of systemic inflammation, which leads us to more disease and more issues. So supplements can really be a benefit.
So I can see how it can relate to your practice then.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you recommend supplements to just about everybody that walks through your office door?
Most of the supplement program that we use for people is based on objective data. We measure vitamin levels in everybody, and we follow them over time. The guy whose vitamin D level is 23 says, he's the fisherman, so he's out in the sun all day, and he's, I get all the sun I need. Well, you know something? His vitamin D level is inadequate because past a certain level, vitamin D is cancer protective. Past a certain level, vitamin D is cardioprotective. We want our patients at that optimum level where they have both of those benefits from having levels of vitamin D that the sun just doesn't give you unless you burn your skin off. And even then, it's not enough. And that's just an example. So it's based on objective data, and it's based on what their symptom cluster is. If somebody has, let's say, an inflammatory bowel problem, one of the things that Metagenics sells are what are called medical foods, which are typically a shake, and Neil can correct me if I'm wrong, that provides nutrients to a person whose gut is healing. Okay, maybe they've got Crohn's disease or something like that. A woman with PMS, there are medical foods for PMS that alter your metabolism of estrogen and actually help. It's not a cure-all, right? But if you put a woman on one of these medical foods for 4 or 5 cycles, she starts to notice that her premenstrual symptoms are improving. So there's lots of different reasons to put people on some different supplements.
Yeah, that kind of really leads into my next question, and you've started to answer that already. I mean, what aspects of healing are you specifically addressing with your recommendations? Let's say after a procedure. I know you talked about, if you have IBS or Crohn's or PMS and so on and so forth, but there's got to be other examples that people can identify with.
Well, that's why I brought Neil, because because we're increasing we do invasive aesthetic procedures in our practice, and I want our patients to be on supplements that enhance their ability to heal, that address the different aspects of healing. So take it away, Neil.
Yeah, well, in regards to the some of the things that their office does with the kind of healthy aging. You want me to mention the machine that you have, or you want me to dig into that?
Please. He loves to talk about that machine. I don't blame. It's his baby. I can't say I blame him. Really.
Well, their clinic is fantastic for really what everyone is looking for, right? How do we have healthy aging? And they do it so well at their practice at HyperFit MD. And they got some new toys, and they brought in a machine, the Morpheus 8 in mode, which is like a micro needling. And so these systems are just fantastic with just kind of slowing down the aging process, having healthy cellular aging, skin, hair, nails, and so on. And nutrients play a huge part of that as well. So I'll speak on the nutrient part, but the nutrients basically support the technology of the Morpheus 8 machines and kind of anti-aging, because nutrients will lower systemic inflammation and start the healing process, be much more efficient. They also help build collagen. So that's the other thing that these machines, what they're doing is trying to build more collagen, building better skin, right? More hydration, better cellular health. And nutrients, vitamins, and minerals really are the answer to that kind of that healing process, to be able to do it more efficiently. So even anti-inflammatory nutrients like curcumin. You probably have heard of curcumin before, right? Curcumin is this wonderful anti-inflammatory. Sometimes you think about it in foods or a spice, but there's a reason why it's been really so therapeutic, and we continue to use it for thousands of years. But it has this really nice anti-inflammatory effect, but it also supports the antioxidant pathways as well. And so when you get some of these procedures, is that they do create some oxidative stress within the body, right? And so the antioxidants deal with that oxidative stress to help that body recover faster. So when you do these protocols, you'll get optimal results by utilizing supplements alongside with them.
How often do you get somebody coming in and saying, okay, so anti-aging, I want my skin to be like a 30-year-old and I'm 55, or I'm speaking hypothetically here, or I don't want the chicken neck, the jowls, and the crow's feet because I squint a lot, or the lines in my forehead or my hands. You can always tell truly how old somebody is by looking at their hands.
Yeah.
When we talk about anti-aging, are you telling me though that there are supplements that, while it can't prevent you from aging on the calendar, it can slow down visually what your age is? In other words, you've heard the old adage of, oh, you don't, you might have turned 50 today, but you don't look a day over 35. Is there any truth to that statement? And which supplements would you recommend someone to take for these outcomes?
Yeah, right. So I think there's always kind of ways to look at it. There's the age of what you are and your number, then there's your metabolic age, right? Yeah. And that's kind of dictated by, okay, well, am I living a healthy lifestyle? Do I have the right amount of nutrients? Am I kind of plushing my nutrient reserves? And absolutely. So they do. So we even see that when we look at a multivitamin, for instance. So there's a multivitamin, a phytomulti that has organic fruits and vegetables in it. It has all your vitamin A's and C's. Clinically shows that it really kind of slows down the aging process. It protects our DNA. And so in the aging process, when we age, it's really kind of like our cells making a replica of a replica of a replica. Like, think of it as a Xerox copy machine. Take an original copy, make a copy of it. It looks pretty identical. But do it 1,000 times and it won't look like the original anymore. So the aging process is when we do that too fast. So nutrients slow down that making a copy of a copy of a copy, right? It's called just basically healthy aging. There's no stopping aging, but how do we age healthy? And there's an example of how nutrients do that. They slow down that process of that replication, better DNA stability, protecting our cells.
It's a balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in medicine is a balancing act.
But it just goes right back, and I'm so sorry. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but it kind of goes right back to something that I brought up a moment ago. Why not just food? I mean, I know it's not the dirt, as you were saying earlier, and but
well, vitamin C is a classic example. If you want to take vitamin C and you want to maximize its anti-inflammatory effect, you need to take a truckload. You have to eat a truckload of oranges every day. I mean, I'll grant all the allopathic physicians out there who may be listening and say, "Oh, you just pee it off." Well, you do pee off what your body doesn't use, but you need, and a lot of, in my mind, again, my undereducated mind, a lot of this has to do with feeding a supply chain. Okay. Remember high school biology, the pyruvate cycle, the Krebs cycle. Remember that circle that, they made you memorize and you forgot it the next day? Okay. The pyruvate cycle makes ATP, the fuel that your body lives on. Many of the supplements that we're talking about right now, that we talk about every day, are inherently important for that pyruvate cycle, for energy. NAD is one of them. The last step in the pyruvate cycle that goes from ADP to ATP, we need NAD for. And as we get older, we just stop making it, So we need to feed that food chain, the supply chain for all that stuff. And so food is adequate to the task of keeping us alive, but is the food in its present state where we procure it in the average grocery store adequate to the task of optimizing our health? And that's a question that I answer by making sure my patients have their supplements.
What are these? What are the components of these supplements? What are they made of?
So depending on them, for instance, some of the anti-inflammatory supplements that we make are bioactives would have what I talked about before, curcumin. It'll be a more bioavailable form of curcumin, right? And that's the great thing about making supplements, is that sometimes you can make them, you can formulate them to be more bioavailable when you ingest them, more so than what food would bring you. So what I mean by bioavailable is when you actually eat something, bioavailability is looking at, okay, when I eat it, how much of that shows up in my bloodstream? How much of that actually gets into my body? Well, in supplements, we can actually increase that bioavailability. So when you take a curcumin supplement, we can increase the bioavailability so the majority of it gets into your bloodstream. So some of the anti-inflammatories are things like that, hops extracts that we utilize for anti-inflammatory, omega-3 fatty acids. A fantastic one that is derived from omega-3 fatty acids is an extract from there called SPMs, specialized pro-resolving mediators. And these are essential fatty acids that actually not only lower systemic inflammation, but they actually turn on the signal to resolve inflammation, to have tissue remodeling. And so this is basically the orchestrator in our body. And like what Dr. Charles was saying earlier is we have these endogenously in our body, but as we age, we have less SPMs. So if we can supplement SPMs to drive that tissue remodeling and lowering systemic inflammation, well, boy, that's a game changer. Because when you think about any kind of disease out there, what are all disease? They're uncontrolled inflammation that have the inability to resolve. SPMs orchestrate it.
Folks, you're listening to HyperFit MD radio show, Age Management, always front and center, along with Dr. Charles and Francesca Guglin. I'm Gary Byron. We have a very special guest with us this morning, Neil Carcusa from Metagenics. He's a senior nutritionist with them. By the way, if you'd like to get in touch with Dr. Charles Guglin, it's very easy to do that. Write this phone number down, 203-890-9777. And you can also check them out online at hyperfitmd.com. At the end of the show, I will be happy to repeat those points of contact as well as maybe even provide maybe an email address for you as well. But would I heal just as well without these?
Good question. Probably not. Certainly not as quickly, and certainly not as efficiently. Would be my answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, if you don't, there's only one alternative to healing. So,
well, yeah,
right?
I suppose you're right. Yeah.
So ultimately, you will heal. But I think we do, for instance, when we do hair transplant surgery, okay, those transplants will eventually grow. But what do we do to speed up and to enhance the growth of those hair transplants? We put them under LED lights every week, because blue light kills bacteria. near infrared light increases neovascularization or new blood supply to those hair follicles. Will they heal without it? Absolutely. But they heal better. The results come back faster. And I think, and Neil can speak to this, I think probably better than I can, in terms of wound healing. Again, it's all about supply chain. I mean, it's about making sure the patients have the nutrients that they need to heal. And, you know, some of our patients drink too much alcohol. Okay, I mean, half a bottle of wine every night is nothing to them. Obviously, we preach counter that, but by the same token, that's a lifestyle that, when you're talking about healing, that hampers healing to a very large degree, and so the supplements kind of play a role in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, if you want to try to do it all by diet alone, right? Well, boy, you got to eat really clean and really, really healthy, which is very hard for people to be compliant to. But even in those cases, just to be able to do it efficiently and as fast as you possibly can, and that's what we want to do, especially when you take someone that is already in a disease state. Let's say they have type 2 diabetes, right? And so we want to get them healthier as fast as we possibly can and efficiently. And supplements are going to do that at a much faster and more efficient rate.
All right, Doc, let's say I come to your practice for, I don't know, some aesthetic procedure.
Yep.
What would you recommend for me?
Let's talk to Neil. Let's ask him that question.
Okay.
Somebody who has just had an invasive procedure, they have wounding. Okay, so my categories of supplements that I'd want them to have is an anti-inflammatory. I'd want them to have a potent collagen source. Okay, something to support cellular healing. Okay, and something maybe to manage inflammation to the point where the pain is a little bit better. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
So some of the nutrients that kind of hit on all those points, those are the exact points I think that you should be hitting on is lowering systemic inflammation, right? Supporting the wound healing. You look at those anti-inflammatories. You look at things like a bioavailable form of curcumin. You look at that SPMs. You look at omega-3 fatty acids. Those help cellular health, but they also lower systemic inflammation. So they're working on a lot of different levels. Other things that you would want to do that support wound healing, vitamin C. Zinc also support the immune system, right? Talk about now and more so than ever, right? We want to boost our immune system. They don't only boost our immune system, but they support wound healing
Zinc
as well.
does.
Zinc, yeah. And vitamin C. And then making sure they're getting adequate amounts of protein. So you can get a protein shake that also has the collagen peptides in it, as Dr. Charles was mentioning, supporting collagen. There's a lot of protein shakes that have collagen in them as well. So utilize that. Protein is how the body rebuilds as well. So those are all the areas I would hit on.
Where do I get these?
Talk to me.
Yeah, Metagenics makes them, and Dr. Charles has them.
Well, what we do in our practice is, first of all, let me say this. We have a lot of biohackers in our practice. We have a lot of people in our practice that are very wedded to the supplements they take. What I do is we do what's called a lab review. We'll sit down for a couple hours and create a plan for somebody. Any new patient coming to the practice spends a full morning or a full afternoon in the practice learning about their body composition analysis, learning about their fitness level, so on and so forth. We go through very deeply through lab work and that sort of thing. At the end of it all, there is a plan for them. And that plan always includes a list of supplements. And what I do is I upload to their or what Francesca does is uploads to their email address a list of supplements that I want them taking and invites them and makes it easy for them to go to the Metagenics website and buy those supplements. For the people who already use supplements, I want that serves as a master list for them. So they're making sure that they get the right stuff.
How long should I take them? How long? How long do you then?
Some stuff you should
for
take
the rest of your life.
Some of them you should take every day till you drop into a box. Others are very.
If they don't have a vitamin for that to prevent you from dropping into the box, or
yeah, right.
Not yet.
We'd be talking on my yacht if I had that vitamin. Yeah, I mean, some things you should take every single day. Other things are more aimed at fixing something.
Yeah.
But for the most part, what I prescribe are nutrients that are very specific to a specific problem the patient has. Usually it's inflammation.
Usually
it's nutritional issues.
What makes Metagenics different from your competitors There's other vitamin companies out there. There's some of them even own their own stores.
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So the industry is still a lot like the Wild West out there, right? And it really needs to be regulated a lot more closer than it is. So what makes Metagenics different is the quality. We're the only company that I'm aware of that actually has true transparency. So what that means is that we are GMP certified. We have all the quality certifications, but the true transparency is actually right on our website. We have lot numbers on our bottles. You can log in that lot number onto a Metagenics website, and it pulls up all the assays that were done on your specific bottle of any product of Metagenics. So it's true transparency, true quality to show that this product doesn't have lead, mercury, cadmium, or whatever it may be in there that's gluten-free, that it actually meets the label claims. That's important. The other things that's important with Metagenics is that, we do work with a lot of other major medical universities and do a lot of research and studying, which is important in this industry, obviously.
How do people buy your products? You have a website, right?
No, well, our products are healthcare practitioner prescribed only, so you have to utilize
prescribed vitamins.
Prescribed vitamins, yeah. So you have to find a doctor, and Dr. Charles in HyperFit MD is a facility, is a practice that does prescribe Metagenics, but it's healthcare practitioner only.
I've got to wrap this up. I mean, are there points of contact for people to reach you?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have my cell phone number or whatever, but I can also give you my email address.
Whichever you prefer.
Or you can also contact me through HyperFit MD.
Isn't there a button on our website for those guys?
There's a link on the website.
Oh,
Let me give you the website once again, my friends. It's hyperfitmd.com. Same website. Easy to remember, hyperfitmd.com. And by the way, if you'd like to email Dr. Charles Guglin, that's very easy to do. It's cguglinmd. That's CGUGLINMD at hyperfitmdamc.com. Again, cguglinmd at hyperfitmdamc.com. And once again, that phone number I promised you to earlier, let me repeat it again. It is area code 203-890-9777. Once again, 203-890-9777. And they're located at 88 Noble Avenue, Suite 105 in Milford. So next time you're down in Milford, stop in, say hello, tell them how much you appreciate the show and all the information that we are able to obtain. I really appreciate our guest this morning, Neil Carcusa. Neil Carcusa.
Yeah.
Did I say that correctly?
You got that. Yeah.
Metagenics senior nutritionist for Dr. Charles and Francesca Guglin. I am Gary Byron. Until next time, thanks for listening. Have a good one, everybody. So long.